Sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, my family and I are really, really excited. It's been a place we've wanted to be for a long time, and to see it come to fruition is really, really exciting. So, we love the city. The fans are unbelievable, and the most important part, which is the hockey part, is it's a hell of a team to be joining, and I can't wait to play with those guys and get out there and get started. So. At the end of the day, it was where we wanted to be, for a long time, and we wanted to do whatever it took to make it happen. So it's nice that it all came together.
Awesome. We'll open it up for questions. If you'll just say your name and affiliation before you ask it.
Matt, John Glennon from The Athletic. I guess, where do you see yourself fitting into this lineup? And maybe as part of that, when was the last time you played any left wing, and could you see that happening at all?
I think I'm going to be at center by the sounds of things, which is where I'm comfortable. I'll be honest with you, I'm not crazy about left wing. I like right wing, but not a big left wing guy. No, I by the sounds of things, it sounds like I'll be slated at center. But again, I've played every position up front, so whatever the coaches and management need from me is I'll be glad to do. So at the end of the day, that's what it's about, and I'm looking forward to getting started.
Matt, Adam Vingan, also from The Athletic. What is it about Nashville that you've had such an affinity for in terms of the city, the way of life, that's appealed to you for so long?
Yeah, I think, I'm from a really small town up in northern Ontario, and it's lake country. It's beautiful up here. I'm used to having a lot of space. I love to fish. I love to be outside. And my wife's from Denver, which is very similar. I mean, a lot of room, and it's beautiful country down there as well. And if you took kind of the two of them and kind of smash them together, you get Nashville. So it's somewhere that has always felt really comfortable for us. Somewhere that we've always gone to. We usually each of us have usually made the trip once a year at the end with our friends, and do the whole Broadway thing and have some fun. But at the same time, we could always see ourselves living outside of the city down there, and that's just that whole lifestyle side of it is just so us, and it's going to be fun to start to raise our little guy there, and hopefully his future siblings as well. So we're very excited.
Matt, John Glennon, what in terms of future teammates, who do you know on this team? What kind of connections do you already have with some of the Predators players?
Yeah, Ryan Ellis and I go back a ways. I've played on one team with him, and he only played, I think, the last few games with Team Canada in 2016 when we won gold in St. Petersburg. But he and I played on Team Canada together 3 times through junior, and we're around each other a lot in my 2 years there. So in junior, so he's a guy I know. He's a guy that's reached out to me. Roman Josi was at dinner with us the other night. I knew him a little bit before, just from the All-Star game a couple years ago, and just some other times being around each other. And then Dan Hamhuis, actually, who called me today, I know quite well. We played together at the Olympics in 2014, and again at Worlds in 2015. So he's a guy that I connected really well with, for guys with similar values and similar type things like that. So we've had a pretty good friendship and kept in touch throughout the years. And so I don't know a ton of guys outside of that, though, but I'm excited. I've heard it's an amazing locker room and heard nothing but good things. So I'm excited to meet everybody.
Matt, Robbie Stanley from NHL.com. What was it about Peter Laviolette's system and his style of play that appealed to you, and where do you think you'll fit in inside that system?
Yeah, well, we talked. I think when we started talking, I mean, what was supposed to be probably a 10-minute conversation when I was down there on my visit turned into about 40, 45 because we just got so into the hockey talk, and that's the way I am. I love to hot stove and debate ideas and talk about things, and we couldn't have been more on the same page. I mean, he's a guy who wants to score more goals, and I mean, as an offensive guy, makes you drool a little bit when you hear your coach say that. So that was awesome. And a guy that wants to play get up and go fast style, make plays, be creative, that kind of thing. So I mean, that was a huge draw for me. And he's such a nice guy and genuine person. And I know the family aspect of the team is something that he's been huge with. I know guys really like playing for him, so I'm really excited to get to work with him. And we talked after I committed, and we had a great conversation again. So I'm really excited to work with him and hopefully bring some offense to the team and play my game. I'm a creative player. I love to have the puck and love to make plays, and that's something that I was looking for wherever I went, because the hockey side is the most important thing. So I'm excited for that.
Matt, David Beauclair with the Nashville Post. David Poyle said he's made no secret of the fact that he's wanted you on this team, has tried to get you. Were you aware of his interest, and how flattering is it that it is sustained over a period of time here?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think when teams are interested and they make things happen to get you, I think it adds a little bit for sure. You know that you're going to be taken care of, and you know that you're valued. And I think at the end of the day, we put so much into this game as pros, and I know I do. I live, eat, sleep, and breathe it. And for that to be valued and kind of get that back, that kind of what I put into it back, I mean, it means a lot. And it was crazy over the last 3 years how many times I thought I was going to be a Predator and ended up either in a different place or just not happening. So although I'm very, very grateful to have played for the Ottawa Senators and Columbus Blue Jackets, I don't think I would have got to this point without being in those positions. And I am very happy that it led me down this path, and we're very excited as a family, and very, very happy with how it turned out.
Matt, Paul Scarina from the Tennessean. How easy of a decision and process was this for you, knowing that you kind of had this love affair and it was kind of a mutual thing from here to you?
You'd think, by the way I'm talking, you'd think it was really easy, but it was actually very, very difficult. The reason being is, I mean, when you have 7 or 8 years in front of you on a contract where you're trying to figure out where you want to be, you have to take a lot of things into account. You got to balance your thinking with your head and your heart. I have a young family to look out for, and I've just shy of 6-month-old son. Just all that kind of stuff. So you're trying to figure things out. You're trying to figure out what priorities are the biggest thing, and everything like that. So I think for me, the first 2 boxes I wanted to check off were hockey number 1, family number 2, and when I say family number 2, I mean in terms of like living situation and stuff. I only get to do this for so long, so the hockey takes a little bit of the forefront, and thankfully those 2 things couldn't. If I'm rating them, they're a 10 out of 10, and those 2 boxes were our biggest priority to check off, and that's what Nashville was. But obviously the business side of things you got to weigh out too, and try and do the right thing there. But at the end of the day, the teams we talked to were teams we were interested in because of the hockey and the lifestyle first and foremost. And Nashville was definitely the one that we're always leaning towards. So we're at the end of the day, we ended up where if you asked me to put money on it before, where I would have predicted we'd be. But to have that mutual interest in that from the other side meant a lot as well.
Matt, John Glennon with The Athletic, had a lot of great individual success over the years, but I wonder if coming to Nashville and maybe being with the most talented roster you've had, is this a time where you hope to look for some more postseason success than you've had in the past?
Absolutely. I think it was a good stepping stone for me this year with Columbus. I think, I got to really experience that. Obviously, we had one of the biggest upsets. It's funny, hockey, I don't even know if there's such thing as an upset because all the teams are so tight, but we're part of obviously something that was pretty historic there in the first round, and then playing Boston the second round and, narrowly losing that series. Great experiences for me, and it's something I've been wanting for a long time, and now I feel like that taste and that experience I'll know what to expect come the postseason. And obviously we got work to do. We're in a really tough division. We got work to do to make the playoffs, and then from there you take it step by step. So definitely something I'm looking at. I know this is a team that I was never going to go to a team that I didn't believe had a chance to win, and I believe that about this team. On paper, obviously it looks very good, and we want to take that and transfer that onto the ice and make sure that it applies. So really looking forward to that.
John Glenn.
Matt, this is Craig. Yeah, you mentioned it's
okay.
been a 3-year process for you. Now that it's concluded, what's that been like for you personally? I mean, going to Ottawa, going to Columbus, the trade rumors, the free agency rumors. What kind of emotional tax did that take on you?
I mean, it's been a crazy 3 years. I think, luckily when I was in Ottawa, and despite some of the stuff that, the 1 year there, the year I got traded, we were supposed to be a really good team and didn't turn out that way, things like that. And then, despite some of that stuff, both teams that I ended up going to were such a blessing for me. And we always we didn't know. I was, at one point I was 100, I was thinking that we'd be in Ottawa, and I was good with it. And things changed, and we got to the point where I had to make a decision. And Nashville was a place that always was kind of in the back of my mind if we kind of got to that point. So definitely, I would never say that while I was playing for those teams I was thinking about this, because I wasn't. I mean, that's not fair to the organization or my teammates, and I loved playing both places so much that it was easy to just focus on that. But definitely, this was something that we had wanted at periods of time throughout the last 3 years, and for it to now end up this way is special for us for sure.
Matt,
This is Steve McGarvey from the Associated Press. I was just wondering, how much consideration did you give to returning to Columbus when you were going through the process, and just what's it been like this last 24 hours just to kind of see how that team's kind of dismantled so quickly after what y'all were able to do in the playoffs?
Yeah, I definitely gave it some thought. I gave it a lot of thought. The guys there are outstanding group of people and players. The organization was outstanding. The management, same thing. I have a ton of respect. Coaching staff, I have a ton of respect for everybody there, and it was definitely not an easy decision to move on. I sent text to a good-sized amount of teammates from there, just thanking them because I felt like I grew so close to them so quickly. So unfortunately, part of the business is sometimes moving on from friends and people you respect a lot and like a lot, and you got your family involved in that and everything. So it was definitely not an easy decision to leave Columbus, and we definitely looked at it throughout the entire process and had them in mind. So at the end of the day, though, Nashville just was seems like the perfect fit for us, and now I want to put that into action, and hopefully that all comes to fruition, and we reach the ultimate goal in the next hopefully a few years.
Matt, Chase McCabe, 102.5 The Game. It's no secret that the Predators were looking to boost the power play. What kind of skill set can you bring to that unit?
I think for me, I've played all different positions on the power play. I've played, I like to play the half wall, but I've also played net front, and I enjoy playing there as well. And I've had success there. I played there throughout my time in Columbus in front of the net, and I played there a few years ago for Patrick Waugh, and played a bit there in Ottawa, and and then the rest of the time I've been on the half wall and on either side. So I think that's one thing I can do is I can definitely play a number of positions on the power play, and excuse me. Hopefully that helps add another element. And I know that regardless if I was on the team or not, I know the power play would be better this year for the Predators because they have so much talent. And power play is a contagious thing. When things are going really well, it rolls really seamlessly and easy. And when they're going poorly, it's a snowball effect the other way. So I'm excited to get to work with that, and it's going to be that's such a huge part of the game now. I mean, you got to score on the power play, especially in playoffs. A lot of our success with Columbus this year, we did a lot of damage on the power play, and it's really important to have that going. And I know that's a priority for the coaching staff and for our team as a group. So I'm sure guys are going to be sick of answering. I've been asked that as much as anything already, and so I'm sure the guys that were there last year got asked about it a lot. And, I'm sure guys will want to put all that skepticism to bed. So, it'll be fun to get to work on that.
John Glennon again.
Matt, what's the story? I guess we heard about it over the years, a time or two, of the property I believe that you had already bought in Nashville. Where did that come from, and kind of what's the status of it now?
Yeah, so one of my best buddies plays drums for Thomas Rhett, and he's from up here actually, and he bought a place in the same area. Actually, he's my next door neighbor, and he basically told us about it. And I was like, at the time I had no idea if I'd ever be a Nashville Predator. I just didn't know. I was playing for the Senators. I was really happy last summer, and I was committed to that at the time, and it was not something that was had any foreshadowing or anything, to be honest with you. It was just an investment opportunity. I felt like it was a good chance to get in that market down there, and did some research on it. And our plan is to use that as a rental property down there. I did my bachelor party in Nashville a few years back, and you can do pretty well on that kind of thing. So just after us staying at an Airbnb, and so that's kind of the plan with that, whether it's a long-term rental or short-term or whatever. So we're still kind of ironing things out and getting that up and going. But there was definitely I can't believe that came out, to be honest. I guess some people have nothing better to do than dig through your name and in properties throughout cities and for different athletes, I guess. I don't know. It was kind of crazy when I saw that come out at the deadline, but that's the plan with that. Definitely wasn't, we're never intended to live there. But it's nice. Right now it's nice to have a place there, because when we come down, likely next week, we'll be able to stay there.
All right. Thanks, Matt, for taking time to do this, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Yeah, sounds good.
Bye.
Looking forward to meeting all you guys soon.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.